40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory there. We gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry's, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
Yo, what is up? We're listen. We're a little bit behind today. Had some technical difficulties, but we are the Texas Fan Battle Podcast. Of course, my name is Harish. This is my boy Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? What's going
You're
on?
on mute.
Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you. And we're still having some technical issues. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You're on mute. I say, how you doing? I said, okay, I don't know if Tim can't hear me, but we're the Texas Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. I already did the intro. We do it again, though. It's all good. It's a Red River victory week. Texas gets it done 23-6 in a game that, for the most part, looked tight in the first half, right? Texas's offense couldn't get it done. The defense keeps them in the game. In the second quarter, things turn around a little bit, but that second half is picture perfect. That is exactly what we expected from Texas. Pretty much for most of the season, right? Like that second half performance is what we expected this Texas team to be able to do throughout this entire season, right? Arch looked good. The defense was on point. And Sark does a lot of different things to get Arch Manning in a comfortable space. Let's check it again. Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, beautiful. We've got Tim Wayne. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I can still hear the music going, though. The background music.
Oh, yeah. I can't hear it. The way you fix that, Tim, is you probably have to go into an incognito mode. It's a weird glitch in the system. So if you want to pull up the thing incognito, we'll bring you back in.
All right, cool. Be right back.
Well, while Tim does that, we've had a technical issue night, and that's why we started late. We apologize. This is not our normal. We were ready to go. All that good stuff is ready to go. We've just had some technical issues. We good?
Yep, we're good.
Check. Awesome. Tim, I was just recapping Texas's emphatic victory in Red River. And really, it was a tale of two halves, right? Texas, we saw a lot of what we saw in the first game for Texas.
Yep.
The first 6 games or first 5 games for Texas up to that point, where the defense was playing well, but the offense was struggling. But second half Texas versus OU, if we can get that Texas for the rest of the season, I think it'll be a successful season. It finally feels like maybe the offense has flipped a switch. Maybe we'll talk about it here. Arch Manning has figured it out. Maybe we'll see. We thought we were going to get some offensive line continuity finally, which is something we haven't had all year. Yeah. That offensive line put that defensive line from OU in a blender. Our Mason Thomas, ineffective. Dominic Williams, ineffective. Jaden Jackson, ineffective. These are guys that are going to be NFL defensive linemen that went up against, shout out to Nick Brooks. Game ball, Nick Brooks. Nick Brooks was wheeling and dealing, finally gave the interior of this offensive line some glue, if you will, right? And made some stuff easier. So we'll talk about all that But before we do that, Tim, I know we were a little late on this, but how you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm good. Um, I knew. I'll say this. I'm very interested to see how this goes and what Texas does and what they decide to do with it. Do they let this continue to propel them to an opportunity to continue to win ball games? Listen, Texas has a pretty favorable schedule. There are three really tough games that are remaining for Texas, in my opinion, which is A&M, um, A&M, Arkansas, because they're a rival and they're probably going to play their best ball against Texas. And then you got Georgia going into to into Georgia to play, and that's going to be very interesting. So, they're going to be up for that. Hopefully, they don't have any losses if Texas comes in there in a few weeks here. But not to overlook anybody either. Oh, also Vanderbilt. You can't overlook Vanderbilt either, because Vanderbilt has been decent here within the last couple of weeks. So, got a lot to build off of. I'll let you get through the pay the bills, and we'll get into it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, I wouldn't even overlook Mississippi State, right? You got to go in.
True,
You got to go to Starks Vegas, right?
right?
So Stark Vegas is no joke, and that's a big one. Well, I'm guessing that's going to be a night game. It hasn't been announced yet, but that's my guess. But we'll talk about that.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. As always, we're presented by fanbattlesports.com, fanbattlesports.com, where you can hear the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including the number one team in the NFL currently record-wise, the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans. Who's the other team in the division? Houston Texans. And then, of course, uh, there's us, Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast.
Done.
What?
No, you got it.
fanbattlesports.com.
You got it.
Subscribe to our Substack. Of course, follow us on Twitter. Almost at 3,000 followers here on Twitter down below. LH Fan Battle. It's a party. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. Also hit us up on TikTok. We just eclipsed the 1,500 follower mark on TikTok.
Yes,
And of
sir.
course, if you are here in the and we did something new last week on TikTok at halftime. We went live during the game. Tim was live from Pluckers. There was a lot of noise there, so you really couldn't hear him, but I was live during the game. I think we're going to do that moving forward. I think that's something we're going to try to do. I think, Tim, and we'll talk about it after show, I have a way to get us on TikTok live during the show every week moving forward, and we'll talk about that here in a second after the show, but I kind of had an idea. I wanted to do it tonight, but obviously I couldn't even get logged in, so it kind of ruined everything. But hey, we got TikTokers. Follow on TikTok. Subscribe. We'll do live reactions during the game every single week as we have the ability to do. So follow us on TikTok. We also have been posting our top 12 there. I tried to start posting injury reports, but I just realized they're at 8 p.m. every day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll talk about the injury report, but there's a lot. But follow us on the TikToks.
Yep.
At LA Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. All right, Tim, let's get back into it. So 23-6, and really it's a tale of two halves, right? I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. The first half was a lot of what we've seen all year. The run game couldn't get going. OU's defensive line pretty dominant. Both defenses I thought played pretty well. But I thought Texas was able to do something in the first half, and I want to kind of talk to you about this. I thought Texas was able to do something that, in hindsight, really frustrated the fan base, and I can understand why, but also at the same time, maybe help set up the offense to run the ball a little bit more.
Okay.
They ran a lot of screen passes. And not only did they run a lot of screen passes, they particularly ran a lot of tight end screen passes.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I saw this was maybe it was just a way to start to set up that defensive line to run around for a little bit, tire them out, because then they couldn't be as aggressive in the second half and attacking downhill as they were able to, as they're usually able to, because that is a defensive line that can penetrate the offensive line. And it allowed Texas to lean on that defensive line because listen, whether you want to admit it or not, screen passes probably aren't like the most effective thing to do every single down, right? You want to use them situationally, but if it's forcing the defensive line to run everywhere and then get set back up, snap, do it all over again, and do that, throughout the course of the first half, which they ended up doing, I think it allowed the Texas offensive line to help lean on them a little bit and get a little bit more comfortable. What are your thoughts on that observation?
Well, one thing that I noticed is that Texas came out. They had a couple of bunch sets. They had some things to kind of stretch the defense. When you stretch the defense out and you're running these screenplays, you do have to have athletic defensive linemen to get out there and open and make these open tackles. Uh, Especially because you don't want your defensive backs to not take account of the wide receivers that they might, be with here. You don't want them to give up any big plays, maybe down the seam or over the top. So yeah, your defensive line, they are going to have to kind of move around, right? You specifically went in on tight end screens. With tight end screens, your linebackers, your defensive linemen have to be locked in, especially if they're playing zone coverage, things like that. They have to be kind of zoned in because you could get that with that tight end, you get lost within that offensive line, especially if that offensive line is kind of shifting over, which we did see a couple of times where the offensive line kind of didn't get down the field because you don't want to have an illegal man down the field, but they were able to shift over and get the tight end some key blocks to get him open, right? So that was a really good thing. Of course, you had your traditional wide receiver schemes, and even some. I wouldn't even say they were screens; they were more like just check downs, arch throwing
Yeah.
the ball and checking down back when he get having kind of getting the ball out of the end. Noticing that Texas got the ball out very, very quickly. That also does a thing for your defensive linemen. They're engaged with offensive linemen. Balls out, balls caught. You got your wide receivers making moves and trying to get out into the open. Your defensive linemen, 9 times out of 10, are probably going to try to chase after that wide receiver, especially to try to make a play. So that was really impressive.
Yeah, and listen, I think I want to give a shout out to Nick Brooks, who's a true freshman coming in and playing right guard at a position that we really, or sorry, left guard, at a position where we really struggled in most of the year.
But
Last week it was shuffling of Connor Stroh and Nick Brooks. Connor Stroh has played most of that position to start the season. Nick Brooks had a block on a pull to the right side that allowed, I don't remember when this was, but allowed Trey Owens to, I think there was two plays. One was the one that Trey Owens finally, we finally had a running back break a run for
mhm,
larger than 18 yards. I think Trey had one for 40,
okay.
30 or 40. I don't know if you remember that, where he goes over the right side, he cuts back over.
Oh, you know what? I think that was a yeah, yeah, yeah. There
Yeah,
was some key blocks on that. Trey Wisner goes, he veers off to the right, and then
yep,
he's able to kind of break through some tackles and kind of scamper for a long, long run there, probably the longest run of the season
yep,
so far. And it looked impressive. Now, it wasn't necessarily like an all dominant thing, but listen, the key blocks were there.
yeah,
Texas was able to capitalize off of that, scoring, getting that into the end zone. I believe that was the only uh, touchdown in the game. So getting that pass up to DeAndre Moore. So it was a good turnout. Really did like what I saw. One thing I want to kind of want to focus on here is that Arch did not throw at Buck, but he was
yes, he did not.
effective. He was
27.
effective with
Yeah,
his throws, and I'm okay with that. Now, I don't think Arch hadn't thrown over 30 passes. He didn't throw over 30 passes in this game,
27. He threw 27, but he had a 73% completion percentage.
which is fantastic. I don't even think
Amazing.
he eclipsed 200 yards.
No, he didn't.
And listen, with the way that he put the ball in the air and where he put it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I don't need him to put 400, 500 yards up in the air of offense. Listen, to me, if he's doing that, something is not right. If you're in an all-out shootout, by all means, I want that. But if my quarterback can put up 100, 180, 200 yards, get a touchdown or two, and have 40, 50 yards on a run on the ground, I'm okay with that. Does that secure me a win? In this case, it does. And I'm well aware that we want to see Arts kind of put the ball in the air, of course, with the last name and all that that brings. But I was really, really happy with how he distributed the ball on Saturday. It
Yeah,
didn't feel like he was doing too much. Now,
right.
the difference between 2 weeks ago and last week, two different quarterbacks.
Two
Even
different quarterbacks. I felt like it was also two different schemes that were run. I felt like we ran, and follow me here. I felt like we ran a more Quinn type offense last week. And what I mean by that is getting the ball out early, getting the ball out quick, one read and go, and then having a couple of throws that were like decisive that helped you move the chains a little bit. It's almost like they stepped back to steps
they played a
forward.
more simple they played a more simple game. If
Simplified the
you look at the
offense.
Florida game,
Yeah.
listen, Arch put the ball in some beautiful spots, but the plays were taking too long. His wide receivers weren't getting open,
Yep.
and when you're not getting open, it gives that defensive line, which Florida has, and Florida has a really good defensive line. And I'm not taking anything from Oklahoma. Oklahoma coming into this had on paper had a really good defensive line. You if your plays are not developing and you're not able to get the ball out, you're more liable to get sacked. This is just basic stuff, right? You
Yeah.
need to get the ball out. They got the ball out last year, and listen, I'm so okay with that. Like I think what a lot of people want to see is just an all out like an air raid type situation. That is not where we're at right now. We're not at that. That's
Well,
not the University of Texas. That's not Sharks brand of ball.
yeah, that's what I was going to
It's
say.
not
Forget
a,
it being University of Texas. That's just not what Sark runs.
I think that's what a lot of people are expecting of Arch because it's Arch man.
That's a
And
strength.
we've got to realize that Arch can run, Arch can throw, you know, and you can utilize those sets. And I'm really happy with what we saw, and I hope to see more of it. Now, if we get in a shootout, that's a different thing. You know, I'm hoping that we don't have to get into a shootout, but you
I
know,
think you might have to. There's one game that I think you might have to get into a shootout.
A&M.
I think so, but I don't know yet, right? Because A&M, listen, you can. Let me talk about A&M real quick.
Okay, go yeah, do your thing.
I'm not sold on A&M yet.
Still at 5-1.
I'm still not sold on. Just like I wasn't sold on John Mateer. I've told you guys all year. I don't think John Mateer is that good. Now, granted, he has some injuries. John Mateer is lucky he didn't throw 5 interceptions on Saturday
He could have. He definitely could have thrown 5.
because Leonga Lafau dropped one
Mm-hmm.
and Jelani McDonald dropped a pick six. This could have been a runaway game.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should have been another blowout, right? Marcel Reed. Only reason why I think it's going to be a shootout, and it's not saying that Texas's defense is bad. Because I think Texas is probably a top 5 defense in the country. Even after that Florida, like I think Florida isn't it. We can clearly say Florida was an anomaly, right?
Right.
I think the receivers that Texas or A&M has right now, they just have a lot of weapons. With the rise of Mario Craver,
Mm-hmm.
Casey Concepcion,
Right.
they've got a decent tight end. They've got another wide receiver whose name I can't think of right
Mari
now.
Nyblack is there, by the way.
Yeah, they've got Amari Nyblack who's contributed a little bit, right? And all those guys have played, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually think it's going to be a fun matchup because you have a veteran secondary in Texas going up against a veteran wide receiver core in A&M, right? my also with a scrambling quarterback in Marcel Reed, right?
Mhm.
I think that's going to be a very, very fun matchup. This defense versus that offense is going to be a blast to watch. And I don't know what to expect.
Mhm.
I am until I can see A&M win some of these other. I think A&M's going to drop a couple, and that's just the nature. I think that's just the nature of this conference,
Right.
right? Um, you you could, they have to go to LSU next week at night,
Dude, that,
right? It's not saying that a team
I'm
is
hoping,
bad, right?
I'm praying to God
Yeah,
that LSU does not drop a game. LSU, who do they have this week? They got Vanderbilt.
yeah.
I'm
Vanderbilt this week.
praying
Yeah,
to God that they don't drop a game against them. College game day is going to be there. If they both win out, college game day is going to win there. A&M has Arkansas this weekend. I'm almost sure that A&M is. I mean that college game day is going to be there, and
well,
that's
I mean,
all the lights you have. It's going to be Death Valley at night.
yep.
A&M versus LSU, this so-called rivalry. That's going to be great. I'm
That's gonna
really
be it's gonna be amazing, right?
yeah.
And listen, Arkansas gave say what you want about Arkansas. Arkansas gave who did they give a little bit of a fit a couple weeks ago? They gave somebody a fit, didn't they?
Mm, I think you're
Um,
getting Arkansas and
Tennessee. They literally almost beat Tennessee
yeah, that was actually
in
insane.
in Neyland Stadium,
Yeah,
right? So
no,
listen, and Arkansas has a great quarterback in Kalen Green. I don't know
yeah,
if you watch Kalen Green. I like Kalen Green. I think he's really good.
yeah,
I just think they're Sam Fisher, whatever the hell his name was. I just think he's a terrible head coach. Um, but listen, these teams in this conference are going to beat up each other. Texas is now the problem with Texas is they can't fall into any of that. They have
no,
no room for error
no,
because if Texas can win out all the way through A&M, and that includes winning at Georgia, which is going to be tough,
right.
right? They're going to be in the SEC title game
Mhm.
by the time this is over. Even that A&M game may not matter. Like that is still on the table.
Right,
A&M could drop a couple. LSU is going to drop some. Georgia could drop another one. I think Georgia could drop one this week. Ole Miss can drop one this week. These teams are all liable to drop games.
yeah,
It's just how this and this is what people kept talking about. It's just how this really last week and last year. That's how this conference panned out too. It
ended
just
up
went in. It
close.
just went in Texas's favor,
Yeah,
right? So Texas just needs to worry about Texas. There's teams that are liable to drop games in this conference. So you just gotta you have to win the Kentuckys. You have to win the Arkansas
yeah,
because you need to be able to go into like a Georgia and A&M with a shot.
yeah,
So anything else? I just want to say I'm gonna just be honest with you, Tim, and I tweeted this on Saturday, maybe Friday night. Thumb or not, I don't think John Mateer was going to play well in this game.
I'm starting to. It took me a while to get to that point, but I believe so too. I just don't think that they were. I don't think that they were. Not to say not ready. I think that they weren't. I think that they were ready. They just didn't look well. They didn't look like a good team. They
Because
like
they're not. They
they
haven't beaten
look.
anybody.
They
What
look.
is their best win?
I don't know. I,
Their best win is against Michigan, who just got dog walked by USC.
that's rough, man. Listen, when you have a situation like that, your offensive line is blocking for you. And trust me, you know about this as Texas fans. When your offensive line ain't blocking for you, your running backs aren't running for you. You're not really able to get open. Your quarterback is turning over the ball multiple times. He turned. He did some. He made some bonehead plays.
He did some weird stuff.
He made some bonehead plays. And
Yeah.
listen, I kind of wanted to think about the. I kind of wanted to like think, oh well, it's just a thumb, but no, I don't think it was a thumb. Especially in that first half. That first half, he made some questionable throws. Now he put some. He put some throws on the money. He did.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
He did have some, but especially after that, especially after that first half, Texas start putting that heat on him, start blitzing him. And I told you, like, and it sounds so terrible, but it's a violent sport. In order to take advantage of what Texas had in front of them, they had to hit material.
Yeah, you didn't have
There's
an
no there's no way around this. If you want to guarantee yourself a win, and I'm not saying knock the guy out, but I'm saying you have to put him on his butt. You have to make him think about that thumb. And we saw that thumb was blood beat.
Oh, it was. Oh,
He
yeah.
was
He was
blood.
getting hit. He was having to run. They still can't figure out their run game, so he was kind of having to do everything. And while I get like he had a bad thumb and everything, he was letting it rip. But I just don't understand the decision making behind John Mateer is so weird to me. Let's take the end of the first half for example. Like that is the most obvious thing. You have the ball, you're up 6-3. You just need a few yards for field goal range. And not only does he throw the ball into the end zone, he throws the ball like literally 10 yards in front of the receiver. And it just goes right to Manny Muhammad. And it's these are the types of plays he made at Oregon State or at Washington State and against good teams. Like
Right.
John Mateer has never beaten a Power 4 team.
Oh,
Well, except for Michigan. Except for Michigan.
right.
And he hasn't played well against them too. So until and I don't know if you know this, Tim, but Oklahoma's only won 2 conference games in the last 2 years since being in this conference. They've only scored 3 total touchdowns in the last 2 years in conference. That's how bad they've been. And I think 2 of those, all 3 of them came against Alabama.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this, and then we can move on. If Oklahoma, because we know they got a rough.
They might lose out, dude. I'm being honest.
They got a rough. I mean, a absolute rough schedule.
Yeah.
They lose out. Well, not. Let's say they don't lose out. Let's say they drop 3 games.
They're
So
dropping.
they go 8-4 on
Yeah.
the season. They go 8-4. Let's give them 7. Let's give them 9-3. Let's just give them 9-3. Is old boy still there?
Venables?
Is Brent
Mm.
Venables still there?
I think that depends on what 9-3 brings you. If 9-3 gets you a playoff berth, he might buy a year.
Oh, they have
Just
South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama. Then you have Missouri and LSU.
they might not win another game.
They have the hardest schedule
Yeah.
in the SEC. Like, I'm like,
If they
who's got a
cannot
rougher
find
schedule? Maybe Florida.
Tim, if they cannot run the ball, they will not win another game. John Mateer, and especially as John Mateer continues to get hurt, every team now has a blueprint on how to beat Oklahoma. We gave them the blueprint.
If you're John Mateer, do you hang it up or do you go in and say, "Hey,
He's not going to hang it up.
He's gonna play"?
He's going to play.
Is he a junior or a senior?
He's a junior, so he can come back next year. He probably will.
I would transfer. I'd get out of it.
Well, if Venables leaves, I transfer because if Venables leaves, their offensive coordinator is probably gone. That guy's a knuckle brain too. I don't know how they thought that guy was any good. How do you not know how bad your quarterback is, like his thumb is, and you just let him just sit in the pocket and take hits and sling the ball?
Dude, I don't know.
If
they didn't try to do it, they did try to get off a trick play, but that didn't really work. It did get him a first down, but it wasn't really effective.
Oh yeah, the one where he gets somebody
it was like a wide receiver
comeback
pass.
Yeah.
It was like a double pass, and it didn't necessarily work. Now, if you're Texas going forward, listen, we haven't really talked about it, but you lose Jarek Gibson, lose Will Stone, and the transfer portal. They've moved Terry the third up to running back.
Running back, he should be running back 2.
That guy can fly, bro.
He played running back at in high school.
Right, but he can fly.
Yes,
He's Olympic speed fast.
correct.
And we're about to see that. I'm very interested in seeing that. Now going forward with Texas, you have Kentucky, you got Vanderbilt going forward, and then Georgia, right?
Yeah.
What are your confidence levels against? I feel like we're on the same page here. I feel like Texas can take care of Kentucky if they jump on them early. Of course, you want to jump on them early, get as many scores as possible, get turnovers, things like that. Continue to run the ball, milk the clock, all of that good stuff. So we can get past all of that. How do you feel about this next week? How does Texas build off of this next week?
Yeah, then you just continue to build, right? You can Here's what you can't do if you're Texas, right? You can't go back to what you did before OU.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I don't want to see is Texas come out next week and start chucking the ball over the field again. You can't do that.
Right.
You have now found your. This is Sark's offense. Get the ball out early. Now, what I think you do now is incorporate more RPOs. I want to see DeAndre Moore get some of the RPO looks that Xavier Worthy got, because I think DeAndre Moore in the open field can be a fast guy.
Yeah, yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
Get that guy over the middle of the field, get him in space, let him run, right?
Yeah.
Ryan Wingo is your deep threat. Parker Livingstone is your intermediate guy. You know the strengths of these receivers at this point. You have to let Arch make throws to hit those strings.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I need Arch to do is to be able to hit the seam routes down the middle, because they're still wide open. They're still wide open. And so if I'm Texas, if I'm Sark, I'm not changing anything. I'm building on what we just did last week, because it's not even about Kentucky. You can even argue it's not even about even Mississippi State or Arkansas. Now you got 3 to 4 weeks to really build towards. It might not even be about Vanderbilt, right? I'm still not convinced Vanderbilt is good enough to compete with this Texas team.
Mm-hmm.
You are building towards Georgia at this point. You're building towards the last 3 games of this season.
Yeah.
That's what you're building towards, right? And I think the last 3 games is Vanderbilt, Georgia, and A&M, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of have like a chance to reset if you're Texas over the next 2 weeks, this week and next week.
Yep.
And then the Vanderbilt game. And you really have a chance to build on what you did last week and really like do what you should have done the first 4 games of the season and build towards that final stretch, because you're going to need basically this offense to be at full capacity when it comes to those last 3 games. Right. So listen, I think Texas is gonna win out up until that Georgia game. And you know what? A part of me watching Georgia right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Texas beats Georgia either. Because again, I don't know about going to Georgia at night. That's still a possibility. I don't know. Watching Georgia so far, they have some questions that are left unanswered.
Georgia got a dogfight on that.
And they've also got a decent schedule ahead of them, right?
Yeah, they've got Ole Miss.
They got
Ole Miss. They got Florida. The next game, that following game, Mississippi State, and then of course Texas.
Yeah.
After
and then
that,
at the end of the season, they got Tech.
Yeah.
So we'll see what this Georgia team is made of. I'm still not taking Georgia lightly because they have our number, so you can't take them.
In so many ways they have Texas' number.
So, and they would be favored to win that game today, right? And I think Stetson Bennett is playing better than Arch is right now. So you just need Arch. You just need to continue to see Arch to build on.
Zachariah Bryant.
Not Stetson Bennett. What's his name? Whatever the hell that guy's name is.
Zachariah Bryant. That dude is balling.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys that are balling. So
good God, he looks good.
He does. So I mean, you got to continue to build on that. and we'll see if Texas can do that, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they're able to build on that. It would be nice if they could, right? But I'm hoping Sark takes what he learned last week, continues to build on it.
Yeah.
I think as this offensive line gets more continuity, and you don't have any shuffling, which you might have a little shuffle because Cole Hudson's out this week.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Now of all the linemen you want to lose, Cole Hudson's probably the one that you want to lose the most.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not that. And maybe it's the one you want to lose. You're not like as concerned about losing, but you are a little bit concerned because he is the center.
Yes. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to lose the center. He's the one. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see any confusion between whoever the backup is
Yeah,
and Arch. We don't want to see that.
for sure.
We don't want to see any wild snaps. We don't want to see anybody not picking up their responsibilities on the line. So for me, that's kind of big, but I do think that Texas does have enough talent to win out over Kentucky. You know, maybe get some other guys on the field, get some guys some opportunities to play. But they still got to handle business first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interested in seeing what we do with Michael Terry. I think he can end up being the home run hitter. Texas doesn't have one of those guys.
Nope.
Michael Terry can come in and be one of those guys and give them another piece of this offense that can be unlocked. I think it can help Texas a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Tim. Let's talk quickly. Top 12. A big shuffle in the top 12.
Big shot.
Huge shuffle. So I'm going to bring it up real quick. You and I are both. I think we're like on opposite sides of the spectrum at this point when it comes to our top 12s.
Mm-hmm.
We see things a lot differently, and that's okay. That's why we have these conversations. That's
Right.
That's why you talk about it. So I'm going to bring it up real quick.
Okay.
And I want to talk about it because I don't know if you had a chance to see my top 12, but it is completely different from yours.
Oh yeah, I saw it when you posted it.
Let's take a look at it. All right. So let's start with yours, right? I think we both unanimously have Miami as the number one team.
Yep.
Right. And I think Miami right now is the most complete team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't think you would disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
At this point, based on what we've seen, they're definitely the most complete team in the country. Right.
Right.
You and I have Ohio State and Indiana flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you why I have Indiana too. I think Indiana at this point, going into Autzen, going into Oregon after Oregon has done it. Now, the Penn State win for Oregon probably doesn't mean as much.
Mm-hmm.
I think Indiana at this point in the season has the best win in the country.
I can respect that. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I can respect that.
Now, if Texas continues to win, right, and Oregon maybe drops a couple, maybe that changes that narrative.
Right.
Because then by the end of the season, you could say, dang, Ohio State beat a 2-loss Texas. Maybe Oregon lost to a 3-loss Indiana, right? If that's what happens, I don't see that happening for Indiana. They have a very easy schedule.
Right.
Moving forward, Indiana could win out, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
So that makes that win. And if Oregon continues to play well, let's just say they meet again, right? Indiana clearly has the best win in the country.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Miami losing to Florida State and Florida State dropping a couple really hurts that win that they have.
Yeah,
but I still think Miami's the best team in the country right now.
Right.
I dropped Ole Miss because I was not impressed with I don't know what they were doing in Washington or against Washington State, but they looked terrible.
They did. I think that was one of those games, kind of like Texas, where they go in, they think that they're gonna just win outright just off of sheer talent. You got some motivated guys coming in trying to shock the world and get an upset. And then you run into a situation where you're not playing good ball and you let these guys stick around a little bit too long. Luckily, Ole Miss was able to pull out the win and really kind of do the thing again. And Tennessee was another one. Like we were talking about, Tennessee almost bit it. So
Yeah.
I give Ole Miss the benefit of the doubt because again, I still feel like they're gonna catch somebody. So they could literally catch Georgia slipping. They could catch anybody on their remaining schedule slipping. And a lot of people feel like Ole Miss is gonna kind of win outright. Don't necessarily know how I feel about that this yet.
I don't think they are.
I'll take this week to kind of be like, all right, now if Ole Miss wins this coming weekend, they might have the best one. Am I
No,
right? You
yeah,
don't feel that way?
I if Ole
Because
Miss were to beat
I
Georgia,
feel
right?
I feel even though I don't have them ranked higher than them, I do feel like a Georgia could go on Ohio State.
Is it in
Yep.
Georgia?
Huh?
Is that game in Georgia?
Ooh,
But the thing is, Indiana went to Autzen. It was
Indiana
one of
did
the
go to
toughest places to play.
Alton. I listen. I'm not taking anything away from what Indiana has done. Indiana has been looked impressive. My thing is that I'm going based not off of what the paper says. I'm going based off of what I'm seeing, and from
Yeah,
what I'm seeing, Indiana is playing great defense. Right,
yeah, they're playing excellent
they're playing
defense.
great defense,
Yeah,
and they did go on Autzen. I don't think Autzen. I think Oregon is a year or two away from being that. They got a young quarterback, dog. They got a real young quarterback in there.
they do. And Dante
And
Moore struggled in this game,
he struggled.
and he struggled
He went
against Penn
from
State too.
looking like he was gonna win a Heisman
Yeah,
to what? Like he might get invited, but I don't expect him to win.
but it, but it goes to show like the continued talk that we've had about this quarterback group this year. The
Man,
quarterback we've the local media has done it, the national media has done it. Like people that watch the game, the diehards, right, that watch the
right?
game, have been so off on quarterback play this year.
Whew. Yeah, yeah,
And week to week, it's something different, right? Like
yeah.
we thought Joey Aguilar was killing it, and then he struggles for a week. We thought Dante Moore was the number one Heisman guy, and he
I
struggled.
I was on the Dante. I was on the Dante Moore train.
I
Like
wasn't.
sign me up.
Yeah, I needed to see Dante Moore after UCLA because he struggled at UCLA. Now
Uh-huh.
I listen, I understand that it's UCLA and we know where they are right now, right? But I also was like because he struggled there, he came to Oregon, he sat for a year. He hasn't played
Right.
competitive great. That year at UCLA they were terrible.
Hmm.
So even if he played well, they didn't play any. Like they didn't play any competitive football. He has not been in competitive football games in 2 years,
Right.
right? So he's got the experience, but he doesn't have the right type of experience, if that makes sense.
I got you. I hear what you're saying. He doesn't have a
Yeah,
lot of it.
yeah. I'm high on Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is going to win the Big 12.
Yeah, they're looking to set themselves apart from the rest.
I don't think is there anybody in the Big 12 that can compete with them.
Maybe BYU. That to me, when I look at all the other teams that stand out, BYU, maybe Arizona State.
I I think I haven't been impressed with Arizona State this year.
A lot of people have been impressed with Arizona State.
I'm
Now,
actually kind of disappointed. I thought they would actually be a little bit better. It goes to show how important Cam Scadaboo was to that team.
yeah, you need a muscle bound.
Cincinnati's looked good.
Oh yeah, let me not let me not overlook Cincinnati. Cincinnati has been looking pretty good. Cincinnati does look. Some people have Cincinnati getting into the playoffs.
Well, yeah, that would mean they would have to beat Texas Tech.
Yeah, and
Like
and
like today, if the Big 12 title games was played today, it's BYU versus Tech, and I would take Tech in that game.
right, listen, Tech looks good. Tech looks good. They're putting up points. Defense actually looks pretty stout.
Yep.
They did have a hard fought game in Utah, but they put Utah away eventually.
Yeah.
I would say that was one of the big things that I felt like I thought Utah would come in and establish some dominance, and they just haven't been able to do it. A number of injuries have happened, and that's been unfortunate for them. But Texas Tech looks like they might be. They're definitely climbing, and they're getting the attention.
Yeah.
People are starting to pay attention now. They play Arizona State this weekend.
Yep. Yep.
So that's going to be great. They play Saturday at 3 o'clock, so I'm looking forward. I definitely will be watching. There's a lot of things, Harish, and we've talked about this on Saturday. If Texas could just stay the course,
Yeah.
they really do have an opportunity with 2 losses to still potentially end up at the end of the season being a top 4, top 5 team.
Everything's
Honestly,
right in front of Texas. They
I
just have to win out and just take it 1 week at a time.
take it 1 week at a time because
Continue to
again,
grow.
these teams are going to chew each other up. What if Georgia loses?
I
What
mean,
if, what if Georgia loses? What if A&M screws a pooch? They're at Arkansas this weekend.
yeah.
What, you know what I'm saying? Like these these are some big games, and I don't want Texas fans to overlook any of these and say, "Hey, like we're gonna go to the SEC championship." No, 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 no. Don't get that in your head. There's still some major hurdles that Texas has to
Yeah.
accomplish, but if they stay the course, they play like Oklahoma did, like Harish said earlier. It just kind of just take it week by week, man, dude. It's they have an opportunity. I believe personally that with Texas winning, if they win this weekend, that they'll easily be in the top 15 this weekend.
Yeah, no, easily for sure. Because look, did you see the night slate for this week?
No, what's the night slate?
This is just a 7 p.m. slate. Obviously, Texas, Kentucky, right?
Right.
Then you also the ridiculous night slate. Alabama, Tennessee,
Oof.
USC, Notre Dame, Missouri, Auburn, Utah, BYU, all at the same time.
You're that's
That's the night slate this
oh my god.
week. The third week of October, the Holy War, Missouri, Auburn, Texas, Kentucky, all at the same time.
That's a that's a hell of a slate. That is
It's
a
the night slate this week is going to be insane. It's going to be a great night slate.
man.
But to finish out real quick, we both dropped Oregon to 8.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. I think
Yeah.
Oregon's still a playoff team, honestly.
Yeah,
I
me too.
don't know if they drop another game. I don't know. They might get back into the Big Ten title game.
Mhm.
But the way Dante Moore has struggled the last couple of weeks, I think this just goes to show like playing
Yeah.
good competition
Yeah, they're playing good. They're
and,
playing good games.
and like the learning that it's going to take, right?
Yeah.
Georgia 9. I think Georgia's going to drop a couple games by the time the season ends. They're currently 5-1. They could lose 1 or 2 more.
Do you think they lose to Ole Miss this weekend?
I kind of hope they don't because I want chaos. We kind of need like these teams to beat up on each other so that Texas can come back in standings wise.
Yeah.
But that I know Austin Simmons is Ole Miss's quarterback, but the quarterback they have right now is playing well. Like I wouldn't bring the other guy back at all. I think Austin Simmons might transfer. There's no
that guy's hot.
There's no he's in the Heisman race right now. There's no point in changing the quarterback. It would make no sense, but it would be the most Lane Kiffin thing to do. It just doesn't make sense. I think Georgia Tech could actually drop a game. That's a tough Georgia Tech team, but man, you just can't ask. As much as I like Haynes King, you just can't keep asking him to do it.
To play hero ball for 4 quarters every week.
Yeah. Then of course Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I don't know why, Tim. I don't know why you have Oklahoma in your top 12. That's not a top 12 team. Like I don't get it, bro. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't know why you have them in your top 12.
Yeah, I don't see Oklahoma winning this weekend either.
I don't see Oklahoma winning another game, bro. They're not winning another game. They might luck out and fluke out a win like they did last year against Alabama. But if that team cannot run the ball, they will not win another game.
They're going to South Carolina. Is that South Carolina game? Is that a night? That's not a night game.
Let me see. I think it's an afternoon game actually.
It might be okay. But
But even then,
South Carolina is going to be. You think they're not going to be ready, dog?
oh, it's a morning game. Well, South Carolina, I mean, their season's over, right? So now all they got is spoiler.
Spoiler. That's it.
All they can do is play spoiler, and what big good way to throw spoiler on top of like you just went to Red River and got your butt kicked. Your offensive line is even more beat up, and now you got to come play Dylan Stewart and that defensive line. After you just like couldn't block Texas's defensive line, which is the best defense that they have not played. They're going to play good defensive lines moving forward. This offensive line is about to be
every weekend. They're going to experience better. They're going to experience faster, and they're gonna be just as big and just as fast.
Yeah. I think. Do they win a game? Maybe, but that team might lose 4 more games.
Oklahoma?
Yes. Who are they beating? Like, look at the schedule. Who are they beating? Let's just say they beat South Carolina this week. Next week they play Ole Miss. They're not beating Ole Miss. They have to go to Neyland, which is probably a night game.
Right.
They got to go. Then they have to get back on the bus, come back to Norman, pack up for a couple hours, and then go to Tuscaloosa the next week. Probably another night game. Then they have to come home and play Missouri, who Missouri's been fiending at playing them because they can't stand them, right?
Right.
And then after that, they get LSU with the bye week in between Tennessee and Alabama. With the bye week between Tennessee and Alabama. Right. If they don't beat South Carolina this weekend, they're not winning another game. And then Brent Venables will be fired. Because the stuff that Brent Venables has said this week is fire.
He has truly shocked me with some of the things that he said. Now, he said some wacky stuff in the past, but to flat out just your regime as a coach has not been good.
Yeah.
And what I felt like he did this weekend is to say, well, historically Oklahoma has been the dominant team in their conference prior to coming to the SEC. They beat up on everybody except for Texas throughout the year. And then the Big 12 comes out and says, well, under your regime, because that's the only thing that matters is that regime. The current regime says, hey, he did not do well. He only won 2 conference games while here in the Big 12. So,
his best win as a head coach in the last 3 years is what? A fluke game versus Texas 2 years ago?
Yeah.
That was a fluke game. Like when somebody asks you, hey, how do you make your offense better? And your answer is your defense needs to play better. What are we doing? Like, to me, Brent Venables, I've now reached the point, and I was this way last year. Brent Venables is one of those hot coordinator hires that should have never been a hire. And there's just too much of this in college and in the NFL. Everybody wants to go after the really cool. And this is why I respect PK for saying, I don't want to be a head coach.
Right.
Because some guys are just not built to be head coaches.
Not
everybody's a CEO, Tim.
Not everybody's CEO. And I respect the people who identify that and it motivates them. And has the self-realization that, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And we know people that don't, like, hey, they have opportunities to go and be wherever they want to be in life, especially on the football field. And they're like, nope, don't want to do that. I'm chilling right here in my lane doing this. I like this. I want to stay with this. More power to you.
Yeah.
So
everybody's
PK, listen, shout out to PK, getting the wheels turning on that for those boys over there. Man, I'm just glad that worked out the way it did.
All right, Sam. Well, let's wrap up here. Let's talk Texas, Kentucky. I didn't spell predictions right, so let me do that real quick. But what are your predictions for this week? Let's start with this. Let's tell me one thing, stat, uh, player to watch. Tell me one thing you're looking forward to
I,
that you
so
predicted.
I want to see. I don't have a. The only stat I have is I'd like to see 100 yards plus rushing
Okay.
uh, through through that running back core. Now I know that Trey was a workhorse last week. I'd like to see Trey, get his yards early, get him often if he can. If he's on a roll, stop passing the ball and let him continue to run the ball. He said last week he was like, I was tired, but I felt good, and I felt myself getting stronger as we progressed throughout the game. Let him run.
Yeah.
If he is not if he's not going backwards or if he's not doing anything boneheaded and the offense is continuing to move the ball that way they can chew the clock, let him do it. That kid literally sat up here and had 144-yard run. They went away from him, and then I can't remember what boneheaded play. Now, to be fair,
Jared Gibson, that 3 yard loss that they had.
oh my god, and he went backwards. Oh my god. So then he stopped. He stopped dancing.
Yeah,
Remember
he's
that first
going
half?
north and
He
south.
was dancing a lot,
Yep.
and I think I don't know who told him what. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in that locker room. He came out and he just started hitting the hole a lot better,
Yep.
and they started to wear on that defensive line, and he looked good.
Yeah, he
Just
did.
that. I just want to see that continue. We know that Arch is going to be able to put the ball in the air. I
Yep.
want to see that offensive line continue to gel, continue to get dominant, and maybe they have something. And
Yep.
that this is, and the reason why I'm harping on this is because for those who don't necessarily watch these games, usually by week 6, week 7, you are who you are. Texas is still finding their identity and off of a huge win on last Saturday.
Yep.
And they they're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of their season, and they're finding a running game. They're able to put the ball in the air. That normally doesn't happen, and the fact that it's happening now is really really good. So that's what I want.
You normally don't see teams at this point of the year find something, right? Things
Yeah.
don't click this late, right? Like you said, you are who you are. I think something clicked with this offense last week. And so my prediction is that they continue to build on this. I think you get a Ryan Wingo game this week.
Oh man, I would love that. I
Uh,
would love that.
Ryan Wingo had probably had his best receiving game of his career last year. I think he had 6 receptions or 7 receptions for like
Mhm,
60 yards. And
mhm.
again, it wasn't like off the top, off the wall, like anything like that. Sorry, he had 5 receptions for 35 yards, right?
Right.
I think we're poised for a Ryan Wingo game this week. I
I
think
would
he
love
might
that. I
start to
would
get
love to see that.
comfortable. Um, and I think he has his coming out party this week. So that is my. I don't know what the stats will be. I'm
Right.
thinking maybe like 6 receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown.
That'd be great. That'd be
So,
fantastic.
because this is a weaker defense. He's seen better defenses. I think he can put those two things together now.
Right.
Him and Arch. He's got the deep. We saw the deep post against the Sam Houston State. I think you can see some of that again.
Hmm.
Arch. I think the final thing for Arch to cross off his box is to win an SEC night game on the road, right? And I think he gets that done this week. Listen, it doesn't matter what you guys think about Kentucky. People want to say it all the time. Any given Saturday in this conference, right? So you
Yep.
cannot overlook this Kentucky team.
Yep.
You have to continue to build, and I think Texas does that. I get the job. I think they get the job done. Do you have a score prediction?
I'm gonna say Texas 35, Kentucky 17.
I have the exact same score, except I have Kentucky scoring 10.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this or not, but the transfer quarterback that they had at the beginning of the year, they're not playing him anymore. Calzada?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're not playing him anymore. They're playing a freshman.
Oh,
So give me Texas 35-10. You have them 35-17.
just change things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that wraps it up. Any final comments or any final thoughts before we get out of here?
John Mateo look like crap, and you guys are in for a long season. Okay,
Yeah.
your offensive line is getting ready to go through a ringer. Shout out to Ray Fowler for the score prediction, but Texas is going to stay the course. Take one game at a time. Let these guys continue to knock each other off, and y'all be there fair and square right there at the end of the year, ready to go into the playoffs.
Sir. All right, Tim. Where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Lane. Shout out to we had over 100 people that showed up in our live on TikTok when we did a post game show. So
Yep.
we really do appreciate you guys coming through. But yeah, you can also find me at the Longhorn Fan Battle podcast on Twitter. Again, I appreciate you guys coming through. Appreciate you coming through here, Jake Fowler, and dropping a comment here. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, especially on YouTube. We're trying to build that YouTube up, but we really do appreciate y'all rocking with us here, and we'll look to hear from you soon.
Awesome. You can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Also find me on TikTok. We'll probably do a live reaction show. I think I'm gonna be at home this week. We might go check out Pop Stroke this weekend, Tim.
You might go check out what?
Pop Stroke, the new Tiger Woods mini golf place.
Okay.
Up north. I'm gonna go see my parents because we got a night game, so we might go check that out and watch the game there. So
Okay.
if we do, I probably won't be able to go live. I might come home. We can do like a late night post game.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll try to do a live on TikTok this week. Next week, I hope to have a better TikTok setup so those of you guys that like to get on TikTok and join us there, we'll be able to have a live show there. Find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Find us at LH Fan Battle. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on TikTok at Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. But for now, my name's Harish. This is my guy Tim Wayne. We out of here. Peace.
Okay, bro.